Jonathan Yeo, the artist, was quite famous for doing an unofficial portrait of George Bush at one point. And the interesting about that portrait is that it looks a lot like George Bush and all, but it's actually a collage that was made out of cutouts from porn magazines made into George Bush's face.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old music. Good old humor.
Whoa, Terrence, feeling musical today.
Putting on my radio DJ hat.
Wow, good old music.
Like Gold 90.5. Old music.
I thought it's because the NDP National Day song just dropped and you can't stop thinking about it.
Can't stop thinking about Ben King.
Stop thinking about Ben King and the new song, which is what, You Are Not Alone, is it?
I think it's just Not Alone.
Oh no, because You Are Not Alone will be too close to the Liverpool.
You Never Walk Alone. Right?
Yeah, fuck.
You Are Not Alone is a Michael Jackson song.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Michael Jackson, don't know whether we want to associate NDP with Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Not Alone.
But yeah lah. Oh, Terrence, I think that's the first time I think I've messed up the intro before.
Yeah.
But I think it's the first time you flopped, man.
Yeah. It's okay. We don't have to redo
music.
it. We don't have to redo it because it's authentic.
Yes, we keep it real.
Yeah, we're real people. We make mistakes. Yeah.
As opposed to who?
Huh?
Like who? I felt like you said that with a chip on your shoulder.
No, I mean, there's a lot of people who don't own up when they make mistakes and all that. Right? I'm sure you know people.
I thought you had specific people in mind or something.
No. I'm just saying in general. Yeah.
In general.
Correct.
But yeah, man, how's the week been, man?
I mean, the news and all this has been dominated by something that happened. Not in Singapore, but still very close to our hearts. Everyone's talking about that. Then, the Vesak Day holiday kind of, cut short the week a little bit. This is only our second episode of the week, but it's okay. I think everyone had a good break during Vesak Day, right?
Yeah.
It's been raining like crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about a holiday like Vesak Day and all where, it's a bit more chill, I guess. Because it's one of those holidays where there's not much visiting that is done, I assume.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not Buddhist, but it doesn't feel like that's part of the festivity. So it just felt very quiet.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It's a good break.
Yeah.
And you?
My week, okay also.
Yeah.
Nothing. I think the past few days just dominated by this news.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been another week gone by.
Yeah,
man.
Speeding by,
man.
Almost halfway through 2024. Yeah, crazy.
Oh, can't believe it.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. I mean, not almost halfway through. Still got one more month lah.
Close enough lah.
I guess lah.
Yeah.
Oh, close to school holidays starting this weekend, right?
Yeah, literally. So that's the halfway mark lah, right?
Yeah.
Most people.
But yeah, cool, man. Before we jump into the first topic, anything you want to say, Terrence?
If you're new here, please consider following, subscribing, liking, sharing whatever you're watching or listening to, because that really helps us out and teaches the algorithm that, hey, people like to listen to us.
Yeah. So if you're on your phone now, desktop, just hit the subscribe button wherever you are.
Yeah.
We also have a Reddit community. And you can, if you want to work with us, you can check us out at ministryoffunny.com. Sweet. All right.
This one's big news, man.
Big news. Like everyone has heard about it already. But yeah, it's the news of the unfortunate tragedy that happened aboard a SQ321 flight that was coming back from London. And it happened on 21st May, which was Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, there was on-air turbulence. There were a bunch of people who were injured, some still in ICU, some very serious injuries, and very sadly, one fatality of a British man.
Yeah.
And since then, a lot of the passengers and crew have returned. Some of them are still in hospital in Bangkok, which is where the plane landed, and after it diverted its flight path. Now everyone's just talking about what happened. What happens next for the passengers, for aviation, for Singapore Airlines, and just dealing with the aftermath. But where were you when you found out about it?
I was in Singapore.
Oh yeah lah. But where, or doing what lah?
I don't remember specifically lah.
Oh, you don't remember?
it's not. I mean, yeah, it's not something that I deeply remember reading the news or anything like
Because
that.
for me, it was very surreal reading the Facebook post by Singapore Airlines, where it started off, talking about on-air turbulence and all that.
Yeah.
And then they said there was one fatality. I don't know, there was something there. I was like, oh, like
So where were you when you were reading this?
I was somewhere in like Sembawang on set, just waiting for.
I see. Okay.
Just waiting lah.
So you were very bored lah, probably.
I was quite bored.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're probably easier for you to remember, but also significance because you used to work for SIA.
Maybe
that's why.
Maybe that's why it just felt like aside from judging my social activities, Terence, maybe it is the fact that I used to work in Singapore Airlines, and it just felt like, I mean, Singapore Airlines has such a strong brand, and thankfully, like, the accidents and all are few and far between. But just seeing that there was one fatality, then in my mind I was like, wait, fatality means death, right? And it was a bit of a shock, lah.
Bit jarring, right?
Yeah, a bit jarring.
Because I think like SIA, the only thing that they've been in the news about recently is how awesome things are. They announced like 8-month bonus for all employees.
Yeah.
Based on everything that's, how well they've been performing the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So, and, book like flights, launching flights here and there, and everyone just raving about SIA and all that, right? So to have such such shocking, tragic news, I think for all Singaporeans, because of what SIA means to Singaporeans, it's quite a shock, right?
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, I remember when I first, I think probably on Telegram or something, I read about the news on Mothership and all that, right? I was quite shocked because, cases of severe air turbulence, I've heard of it. In recent times, you see on the news and stuff like that, but very rare that you hear about fatality from turbulence. And then as the news started trickling in about what actually happened and even photos that people are taking from the plane, then I started to realize, oh shit, this shit is serious. It wasn't just like, one drop and then after that, everything's back to normal. It was people described it as a bloodbath, literally blood on on the walls and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you can almost imagine, because now a few passengers have shared their accounts.
Yeah.
And like they were saying that when they look opposite the aisle and all, they just see people like go horizontal and fall back down. And like at first I was like, oh shit, like, I mean, I think most people who have traveled have experienced turbulence to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Right. And I do remember, like, when maybe as I get older also, like, turbulence really freaks the shit out of me. Like, you just feel, because you get all this, like, shit, what could go wrong? But then after, when it's calm, you're like, oh, okay, can breathe. But in this one, what, at least as people have come forward and say, is that it was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And then apparently the seatbelt sign came on just before there was the plunger.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just think like, oh shit, like, then I'm sure I had this thought also, like, yes, the seatbelt sign, when it comes on, I always put on the seatbelt. But if I need to go to the bathroom, or if the seatbelt sign is not on, a lot of times I don't put on the seatbelt.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. Like, let's say if I go to the bathroom and I come back and I'm like, okay lah, don't put on.
Just lazy,
Lazy,
Was
reckless.
it discomfort or what? Or just like you think that you're strong enough, whatever?
Not strong enough.
Then?
I think I'm taking it for granted also. Like, I vaguely remember it's not an automatic thing, come back to my seat and seatbelt. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because if the seatbelt is off, I'm like, okay lah, just can stretch, move about and stuff like that lah.
Yeah.
For you, you're always belted in.
Generally I'm a bit more law-abiding, conservative.
Conservative, very conservative.
Very conservative.
Very pessimistic, very conservative.
Yeah, very pessimistic.
Don't want to rock the boat and all that.
And just generally realistic about how physics works lah, basically.
Oh, is it? Hey, you're speaking to a trained engineer, okay?
Who doesn't wear his seatbelt?
Physics.
Doesn't wear his seatbelt when he sits on the plane.
Yeah.
But no lah. I mean, for me, I kind of I mean, it's just understanding that nature sometimes. I think as Singaporeans especially, we are not exposed to a lot of the extremes of nature, right?
Yeah.
Snowstorms, blizzards, and things like that. I always feel like as Singaporeans, when we travel and all that, we take a lot a lot of these kind of things are granted, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't experience them in Singapore, whether it's like, driving in snow or, being caught in a blizzard and stuff like that. And we think that you can sort of just weather through it, but a lot of times, you'll be caught with your pants down, right? A lot of times if you don't take more precautions when you're traveling.
Yeah.
So air travel included, where, the assumption that, air travel is safe and all that, but there's things that happen in recent years that might change the whole dynamic, namely like climate change. It could possibly be a factor in why turbulences are getting more frequent and more just more violent, right? More severe around the world. So yeah, that's why I'm a bit more cautious, yeah.
But is it but you always have been belted on, right? It's not just more recent times, right?
No, more recent times, As you get older, you're also more cognizant of your mortality.
You strike me as someone who belted on right from the first time.
I know, yeah. There's the perception that people have,
right?
But I also sometimes like to live dangerously, or calculated dangerously. Like you go skydiving, all that. Yeah, the activity itself is very dangerous, but you do all the precautions, you double check, there's 2 parachutes, blah, 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 right? So, but when you're flying, you also should not take for granted that the plane will be fine, Yeah, so you whatever you can do individually to protect yourself, you do to your best ability.
And I think now there's a lot of talk about, seatbelt practices. I think SIA just announced that they are not going to do any more meal service the moment the seatbelt signs are on.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised there.
Yeah.
I always thought that they don't do meal service with the seatbelt signs.
I also.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means they were doing meal service with the seatbelt sign.
And maybe it's because I saw them serving the meals. I was like, no seatbelt, unbelt.
Yeah.
Which is a bit ridiculous because, you're telling people to belt in for their safety, but yet you're doing meal service.
Yeah.
And you don't have any of those, boots that can, the suction boots that will keep you on the ground and all.
Yeah.
And the carts are also not, tethered to the ground or anything.
Yeah, they're super heavy as well.
Yeah.
Have you ever, sat with your knee slightly out on the aisle?
Kena, right?
And then the cart comes and kena your knee.
Thankfully, no.
Yeah, it's happened to me. It's horrible. Yeah, it's pain. It's very pain.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if that cart goes up and then lands on your head or something?
Yeah. And then the interesting thing is, apparently, from 2009 to 2018, turbulence accounted for more than a third of the events, primarily in the US. So that was where the study was done. But fatalities due to turbulence, right, are damn rare. No?
Yeah, very rare. Since 97, right? I think
1980.
Oh, 80 something.
Yeah, it's been 20 plus. Yeah. So the last fatal turbulence-related accident on the database of Cirium, which I guess is an aviation group based in the UK, involved United Airlines Boeing 747. Oh yeah, correct, 1997.
Yeah.
So that is 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So
we were still teenagers back then, man.
Yeah. Because when I heard this, I was like, okay, deaths due to turbulence must be it's not common, but it's also not uncommon.
Yeah.
But apparently it's very uncommon.
Yeah.
So it just gives you an idea of how severe this turbulence was. And also then I think one question that a lot of people probably had is but couldn't a pilot avoid it? Right. But then apparently this is part of what you call clear air turbulence.
Yeah.
Which the radars cannot detect.
Yeah.
Because the pilots apparently have radars where they can see the patches. You can't see it visually. And the only source you might have is pilots who had just gone through minutes before.
Yeah.
Which is scary as shit.
Yeah. And I think the initial news that was coming out in real time right after it was announced that it happened was that the plane had apparently plunged 6,000 feet in 3 minutes or 4 minutes or something. But it turns out that actually that's actually the plane just coming down at a normal pace.
Yeah.
The plunge was probably something much shorter and much sharper, 1,000 feet in a few seconds,
Yeah.
And that's what caused probably all the damage, right? That so-called plunge that in people saying initially, that's actually just the plane descending to a different height.
Yeah, my friends were messaging that. And in my mind, I was like,
3 minutes is damn long, if you think about it.
It's damn long.
Yeah.
Then I don't want to be the douche like, I work in aviation.
I thought you said you're engineer, right? You're engineer, you don't know.
So I never say.
Okay.
But in my mind, I'm like, okay, like I think it works out to about like 30 feet a second.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a lot if you're dropping like that. But as a plane, right?
As a plane, yeah.
You're going out is normal.
Yeah.
So like there was this one Reuters article that kind of explained it quite in detail. And they literally show like at what point. So the plane was going straight a bit, then it went up, then went down a bit, then went up, then went very down, then went up, a bit down, up, very down again, and then up, and then stabilized. So it was all in the span of like maybe a minute or less than a minute according to this graph.
Basically what you've described is the trajectory of every single roller coaster in the world, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Up and down and up and down.
Yeah. And one person said like when it was first going up, it almost felt like, on a roller coaster.
Yeah, the peak.
So there was one guy, I think, who appeared on some Street Times videos. He said he felt he needed to buckle in.
Yeah.
And then apparently some other passengers felt like a G-force, like on forcing them on the chair.
Yeah.
So you just think about it, you're like, oh my God. So a couple of things. And then the clear air turbulence apparently is also been increasing a lot over the past few decades because of increasing temperatures.
Yeah. So what from my understanding is like, the upstream of air was what pushed the plane up. So imagine it like being pushed up to the top of the roller coaster thing.
Yeah.
And then just before the drop, everyone feels that weightlessness and just drops for like a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And you're not strapped in. Imagine you're sitting in a roller coaster and you're not strapped in. That's how scary it is.
It's literally going down a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then you saw the aftermath where apparently some people's heads went through the overhead cabins. Like one thing I was wondering, like who took those videos? Like how were they allowed on the plane?
You mean which videos?
The one that showed the aftermath.
That's a good question. And actually, I think that's big part of a larger thing worth discussing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, did you feel like the information was coming? Like, there was a lot of information coming, or was SIA very forthcoming about everything that was going on? How do you feel about how stuff was communicated about this incident?
I mean, granted that like I was on set, so I couldn't be near my phone all the time. But over the course of the next few years, it felt like there was a lot of info coming out. And sometimes I also wasn't sure when the newspaper reports it, is it coming from Singapore Airlines directly?
Yeah.
I just saw that one Facebook post.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else came out from SIA.
Yeah.
Do you know, or were you aware?
No, but that's the thing. I kind of felt that like, initially thinking that, it's just turbulence, but nothing too serious. But then as the pictures and everything started trickling in on social media and accounts from passengers also started trickling in, and starting to hear the severity of the injuries. Because initially when they said that there was one fatality, right? A lot of people online that I saw were speculating, maybe it's someone got a heart attack because, just too much G-force or something like that. Or it's something more related to a pre-existing medical condition, right? Then you start to realize, it's people were being launched from their seats into the roof, smashing their head there. And then I think there was one image of even the crew members, SQ's crew members, a man sitting down there holding his hip, and then the SQ stewardess, her nose was bleeding. Then you realize, oh crap, it's like very serious. It's like people were literally being launched in the air, smashed into like the luggage compartment. Then after that, smashed into the floor. So I thought that it's kind of strange that all this is coming out before like we get more information directly from the horse's mouth itself, like SQ or whatever. And then after that, there was some starting to be some like speculations about more than one fatality, like a second fatality, something like that also coming out.
So,
saying that apparently that was from sources from the Thai hospital and all. Then I was like finding it a bit strange because like it seems very uncoordinated, the communications of what was happening after that. And which, in post-COVID era, I think we've all been a bit more accustomed to the fact that like, if there's a big crisis or that, usually there needs to be like a big press conference or something where, regardless of what you know or what you don't know, somebody addresses the issue, somebody senior addresses the issue. So I was quite surprised that we weren't seeing whether it's an emergency press conference or something from the SQ CEO or something like that coming out.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because the only press conference type thing I saw was from the GM of the Thai hospital.
Yeah. And so, like, how come the Thai hospital is the one delivering the news about the people? Maybe it's a joint effort or something, yes. But that's where I feel like, but if anyone should be taking charge of this process, it's someone from SQ, right? I'm not even saying that Singapore Transport Bureau, MOT, Ministry of Transport, anything, because at the end of the day, it didn't really happen in Singapore, and they're now in Bangkok, right? Now they're under the jurisdiction of Bangkok.
Yeah.
So I mean, SQ should be taking lead on this, and it's that kind of strange feeling started to get corroborated when I think there was this clip of one of the passengers who was very severely injured, Australian man, who said that for the last couple of days he had not received any word from SQ, right, about
insurance or something,
whether this was an insurable, accident. Insurance, is it going to cover like his medical expenses, and also whether his wife could be evacuated from back home to Australia, because I think she also had really severe injuries, right? I mean, the latest video I've seen is actually that has been rectified. Like they have now been in contact with him and are very actively talking to him. But in that same interview, I also learned that his wife is actually has spinal injuries.
Oh shit!
And has no feeling from the waist down. So the chance of medevacing anytime soon is not a possibility. Like probably be weeks if anything. So but I mean, that aside, so I was just like, the response from SQ hasn't seemed really coordinated, surprisingly.
Yeah, actually that's true. Because the only time the CEO appeared was on Thursday, 23rd May, where there was like a 2-minute video of him talking to the camera with an apology. And as you were saying that just now, I remember during the horrible tragedy of MH370, when it happened, Tony Fernandez did a damn good job. I don't know whether you remember. The way he was front and center of everything.
Yeah.
And I know there were a lot of case studies written about how AirAsia handled wait, was it MH370? Yeah, it is what was it? There was one not MH370. It was the AirAsia.
Okay.
AirAsia had let me find out which crash. There was I'll find the exact thing. It happened in 2015, I believe. And I remember it was an accident. And he the way he was front and center of every communication. He was answering like the videos, and because he is, I guess, better at speaking. It felt like there's someone in charge. And as you were speaking about it, felt like, for SIA, even the video that Goh Choon Pong did was just not a good video.
It was very, the delivery was very almost robotic, right? Very scripted, very robotic.
Very robotic and not compassionate.
Yeah, it didn't feel very compassionate.
Even to be nitpicky, of course, it's a crisis. The fact that the message was delivered is one thing, but the way his intonations on the certain words also, it felt like he's just reading off something.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people, they also criticized the way he spoke and stuff like that, they were like, how can a CEO speak like this? But that aside, right, some people also saying, what else you want him to do? He's trying to deal with this crisis that, honestly, can you... We don't know yet, but can you fully blame the airline or the pilot, right? If it's clear air turbulence, especially. So what else you want him to do? What else can you expect SQ to do? Do you think that's a valid reason?
I don't think that's a valid reason, because in this case, like people are like, thankfully it wasn't like the whole plane disappeared, but there's still a death in the air, right? And it's something that everyone is kind of like feeling, oh shit, this is horrible. And like that feeling of what's going on is a very it's not the best thing And whenever like people say, oh, what more can he do? I mean, he also has other people around him, and I'm speaking as an ex-SIA employee, right? I feel crisis management, there are so many ways to do it, and just by saying that this one person, maybe he's not the most compassionate on camera, and that has to be taken as the only option, I don't think that's good, because I think it's almost like is like an easy pass.
Yeah.
Because people's emotions are high, and this is not even, and without even think about the passengers and their families. If that is the baseline, I don't think that's good. Like, and especially for aviation, it's one of those industries where accidents don't happen as often statistically, but when they do happen, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
So having a crisis management plan, maybe it's because Singapore Airlines thankfully doesn't have to deal with a lot of this, so they don't have a robust plan. I don't know. That one is just spitballing.
Yeah.
But it felt like I don't think that thing is acceptable.
Yeah. I feel like at this, given the scale and the size of SQ and all that, they need to have a much clearer communication plan in place, rather than it feeling like it's coming out in drips and drabs from various different sources, from online, from the Thai hospital, from passengers and things like that.
Yeah.
I think they need to really
control the narrative.
I wouldn't even say control, right? But just give the impression that it's being as transparent as it can, even if it's just saying that we don't fully know yet, we are still checking and things like that. Whereas what is happening, like you said, the Facebook post was very just factual about it, and then his delivery was also very robotic and factual about it. I mean, there was apology and everything, but it just felt very robotic, right? It just almost feels like trying to keep it quiet kind of feel to it. It gives the impression that that's what you're focused on, rather than about assuring, taking care of the passengers, assuring all future SQ passengers that things will look into this and all that.
Yeah,
I think that's what did not come through in their communication thus far, which are quite shocking,
And there hasn't been any SIA staff who has been on any interview or anything, right?
Not that I know of, other than not that I know of.
Because I just found it. So for Tony Fernandez for AirAsia, it was in 2015 December when one of the flights from Surabaya to Singapore lost contact, and it was revealed like 2 days later that it had crashed over the Java Sea.
Yeah.
But the way I still remember the way he managed it, and the way he kind of was front and center. It was a horrible thing, but it felt like, okay, they are taking charge and they're not shying away from it, which can do a lot.
Yeah.
And for people who say that Goh Chun Pong is not the most, best at delivering this kind of stuff, I mean, you have other people on the team also.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be him. He can just have a message, but the person who's the front and center with the public is a very important role.
In fact, you might not even want it to be him per se, because he might not be the foremost expert in some of these things. You will want to know that, SQ has an expert who can sort of look into things and understand what went wrong. And this expert is also going to gauge, is there fault on the part of the pilot or anything, right?
Yeah. So in many ways, at least he went down to Bangkok to meet the families. Part of me was like, did he even go down? Because I think that kind of stuff is, how you say, it's symbolic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he doesn't need to be front and center,
But do you read about the fact that the passengers who then subsequently got on a later flight to return to Singapore, apparently they were given compensation, like in a
envelope, right?
like $1,000.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah. Again, that was news that came from a passenger, or at least hearsay from a passenger, not verified. I don't think it's verified, but because SQ is not commenting on this, so it's just don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think it's not a good thing that all this kind of information is coming in drips and drabs, right? But why does SQ owe you an explanation, Harish? Why do you need to know all these things?
Public, as a layperson.
Yeah.
Why they owe? I think it is just, even you think about it from a business perspective.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure people's behavior are going to change to varying extents.
Yeah.
I'm sure as hell going to buckle up every time, right? I saw reports saying that in turbulence, the safest spot on a plane is near the center of gravity, which means slightly in front of the wings.
The wings are,
Yeah. Because if you think about it, as it moves up and down, you say...
It's a pendulum like that.
Yeah, and I know some people book tickets based on that. Right.
Actually, I do, yeah.
Oh, you do?
I try to sit nearer to the wings,
Whereas I'm in front or behind, like, woo!
Yeah, like roller coaster mode. Yeah.
So I think it is important just managing from your company perspective also. We've all seen how the brand of Boeing has been hit multiple times.
Yeah.
Doesn't help that this plane was also a Boeing.
Yeah.
And people's confidence and the customer confidence is a big thing. And by showing that you are not taking in charge or having a grip on it, it just causes concerns. I mean, thankfully, SIA's record is pretty clean.
Yeah.
So maybe there isn't a cumulative effect. If you look at Boeing, it started off with one accident, then another thing. By now, like, Boeing doesn't have the best rep.
Yeah.
You don't even need to know what happened. You just, wouldn't you say Boeing is like,
The
there's a bad.
reputation's not great.
So it just feels like, not say you owe it to the citizens, but you just, I mean, aviation, a lot of people fly. A lot of people fly on their planes. There is the assuring people that you're in control, and like not wanting to put across that you're negligent.
Yeah.
Right. So that kind of assurance.
Yeah.
Like, well, why do you think he owes you, or you think he owes you anything?
I mean, well, I have been and probably will still be a customer of Singapore Airlines also. And I always think, service recovery is very important. When bad things happen or screw-ups happen and all that, how you react to it as a business and all, or how you seem to be reacting to it or perceived to be reacting to it is very important in instilling confidence in the customer. But I mean, apparently the market has spoken, and SIA's share price didn't take much of a hit despite all these things. But yeah, I mean, people are saying that SQ will be able to weather the turbulent times, so to speak. But so far, just not a great look in terms of how they've been communicating.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, like, if you had a Singapore Airlines flight this weekend, would you cancel it?
No, I would still.
You still go, right? Because statistically, isn't it a stat that it's still safer to get on a plane than get in a car or something?
Yeah, it is.
Right,
yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's one of those things that the impact of it is like the same thing with shark attacks, right? Shark attacks don't happen very often, but everyone's scared of a shark attack.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's just not a good look. It's probably not going to impact them. And this is just a few weeks after they announced like fucking good profits.
Yeah.
So I think now there have been some talk about what are the customers entitled to. And one thing I didn't know is that for accidents on SIA planes, which can include turbulence, regardless of whether the airline was negligent, under the Montreal Convention, SIA cannot contest damages up to 175,000 US.
Cannot contest. That means
if you file a lawsuit for that amount, I think you'll get it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Anything beyond that, and then SIA can fight back.
I see.
Which again won't be a good look for them.
Because
then they need to prove whether this person's seatbelt was in and on.
Yeah.
I don't know whether there's data down to a passenger level when their seatbelts were on and off. Maybe that might be a thing going forward.
Yeah.
Don't know, man. Crazy.
Rough occasion. I mean, condolences to the family of the deceased, and also all the best to all the people who got severely injured. I mean,
still in ICU and all, right?
Still in ICU. Some even have to go through surgery, right? Because it's that serious, surgery. I mean, the Thai hospital was even talking about they couldn't even verify whether there's any permanent paralysis that could come from this and all, So it's much more serious than it initially appeared to be,
Yeah. I mean, it is it's unfortunate. I really hope there was no negligence. The worrying thing is with all this talk on climate change, apparently we are going to see more turbulent winds up there.
Yeah.
Wow.
But this is international news, it's all over the world already. Passengers. In fact, of all the people still hospitalized in Thailand, only one is Singaporean of the 41. The rest of them are from all over.
Sad times.
But just talking about tough times. There's one particular family that is also, often the news for not the best reasons and everything. But they are also subject to more scrutiny than most other families in the world, right? And this latest brouhaha is about how they've been depicted in royal portraits, right?
And you say they because this is one right after another.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
what is this story?
The story is that the Princess of Wales, i.e. Kate Middleton, has had a portrait painted as part of a cover feature on Tatler UK, I guess. And the painting kind of is a bit polarizing. I mean, it's her in one of her more famous gowns that she wore at a state banquet on November 21st, 2023. It is like a beautiful white dress with a blue sash and like those long-ass white gloves that go up to your elbow.
Yeah.
In the actual picture, yeah, she looks very princessy, very, very classy. But the painting, has gotten a mixed reaction.
Yeah.
And this is just like a week or two after the painting of King Charles was unveiled.
Yeah.
The first portrait since coronation was unveiled to a whole bunch of memes on the internet.
Yeah.
Basically, him for some reason, just being in red.
Bathed in red environment. Right?
Correct, red environment. And there were so many memes about it. But yeah, this latest one is like the opposite departure. It's a lot less complicated. It's a lot less, or it looks a lot less complicated, less sophisticated, and almost looks a bit like, was this really painted by a professional artist?
Yeah.
I don't know. But what made you want to talk about this?
Just one more thing to point out is that the King Charles one was an officially commissioned portrait.
Okay.
But he did sittings for and everything.
Yes.
Whereas this one was commissioned by Tatler magazine,
correct,
in commemoration of 50th anniversary of some royal event, right? I think. But the point is that Kate Middleton did not sit for this, or did not sit for this portrait, right?
Yeah, there was no sitting, and
it was just based on photos and videos that were on the internet,
Yeah, and apparently the artist Hannah Uzo, who is a British Zambian artist, sifted through over 189,000 photos of Kate to capture her likeness. And I say capture her likeness in air quotes because that's what she said.
Yeah.
And then she tried to capture the soul of Kate in the painting.
Yeah.
And she went on to say, it's really important to capture the soul of the person. So I spent a lot of time looking at her and looking at her pictures, watching videos of her, seeing her with her family, seeing her in diplomatic visits, seeing her rowing or visiting children in a hospice.
Yeah.
It has been really interesting for me to get a sense of who she is. And she went through multiple sketches. I mean, she's a professional artist. She's a pretty big following.
Yeah.
But what do you think of the painting, Terence?
On first look, I was like, oh, it doesn't really look like Kate, right? I looked at it, I was like, okay, I mean, I can tell it's of someone like regal, someone stately, someone very royal, and but you zoom in on the face, all that, I can barely recognize that it's Kate Middleton, because I think Kate Middleton at the end of the day is, because of social media, everything, is one of the most recognizable people from the royal family of all time, right? Everyone kind of knows what she looks like. And in recent times, there was also the big fiasco about the Photoshop photos of her. So everyone's analyzing her photos a lot. So for a portrait of her to come out where the likeness is not photo accurate, I guess that's what everyone's so shook by, right? Yeah, but how about you? How do you feel when you first saw it?
On second glance, you started off on first glance.
No, but how about you? On when you first saw this,
I think it doesn't look like her, but also it felt like this painting. You look at the King Charles one.
Yeah,
it's so out of left field, right?
Yeah.
That it feels like an artist probably had a vision to do this, and he did it.
Yeah,
and this one. I know art is open to interpretation. I know art is very subjective.
Yeah.
But if you told me this was the prize-winning entry in a student competition, I'd be like,
student, okay. Good for a student.
Good for the student. Good for the student. Don't know whether you should become a professional artist, but good on you, mate.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh shit, really? This is it? It just looks very basic.
But that's why you are not an artist. You're just a
commentator, layman who just talks shit about artists.
Some shit, thinks you know.
So Terence, your enlightened soul, please tell me, what is so amazing about this painting?
Okay, I'll just come at it from also a layperson angle to try and understand maybe what the intention of the artist is. Remember, a portrait also is not just it's not meant to be a photo, right? It's not a photorealistic representation of the person.
Yeah.
It's meant to also reflect what the artist sees
The soul, the soul.
In the subject.
Okay.
Not I won't even use like words like soul because that's all like very, very subjective. But yeah, it's meant to reflect what the artist sees in the subject, right? And also maybe reflective of the times that we live in, right? So yeah, just going back to the King Charles portrait as well, the Jonathan Yeo guy. Do you know about the artist?
No.
Very interesting artist, very, very. I mean, I think he said that he was trying to do a more modern interpretation of what what an official portrait needs to be, So if you look at the face of King Charles in that portrait, it looks very classical art, right? Like really like fine details and Rembrandt lighting, not Rembrandt lighting, but very nice lighting and everything, right? Like what you imagine a face would be in one of those classic portrait kind of things, But the rest of it is like just like out there, right? It's pretty outrageous, right? But you can see that he's blending like two styles together, But there's also another occasion in his past that he's blended two styles together. Jonathan Yeo, the artist, was quite famous for doing an unofficial portrait of George Bush at one point. And the interesting about that portrait is that it looks a lot like George Bush and all, but it's actually a collage that was made out of cutouts from porn magazines made into George Bush's face.
Oh.
Yeah. So this guy has a history of like creating subversive art,
oh shit.
So I think there's a statement that's trying to be made, and he's also trying to make a statement about King Charles and everything. In some ways, his interpretation of King Charles' life. Some have interpreted like, King Charles is like he's trapped in hell. Like figuratively, that's his life now, right? He's locked in the hell. But yeah, so my point is that a lot of times the artist's intention has a lot to say, has a lot of influence on how the portrait looks. So that was for the King Charles one, right? So for this one, I've seen some people interpreting it, or I've read somewhere that people are interpreting it like, I mean, at the end of the day, the artist is, she's, I think she's black, right?
Yeah.
She's black, right? So this is her interpretation of like, looking at, what was the symbol of the colonial empire at one point, right? The king and the queen and the royal family and all that. And her interpretation of what this position means to her, right? And some have said, look at it like, if you really look at this portrait, what stands out is not the face of the person, it's just what she's wearing. You can tell she's royalty by what she's wearing. But the face, honestly, could be anyone. And in some ways, it could be a statement on the position of this, the princess. That, you can just put any random person in there. It's not about who it is. It's about the gown she's wearing. It's about the crown she's wearing. That's what makes her the queen. And in some ways, could it be a subtle dig at Kate Middleton, that it could have been anyone, ultimately she married into the royal family, right? But imagine if Prince Charles dated someone, Prince William dated someone else, then it would be any other person's face on this portrait. So in some ways, people say maybe there's a subtle dig at this position that she's in, where it could have been anyone, not just uniquely Kate Middleton.
So, okay, like what do you think, Terence?
No, yeah. So that's what I've been reading as a layperson. And just reading up about this Jonathan Yeo's history and art. And I realized, maybe the artist is trying to say something about the subject that they're painting. That people think that a portrait should be like a photorealistic representation, but it's not. They never are. They never are.
But like the one for King Charles, which was commissioned, right? It doesn't paint him in a good light,
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right, it doesn't. So then, like, why even release it or commission an artist like that?
But that's art, right? It's kind of a dance between.
But like the Monarch is so protective of their brand,
Correct.
So to have that artist be commissioned and that come out like that and still be unveiled and all, was it just to show that they are, moving on with the times and not afraid to, poke fun at themselves or some shit?
I mean, in some ways we are in that business, right? Where people commission us to do content as well. And we always tell them, hey, our content is meant to be slightly edgy, meant to be slightly naughtier and everything like that. But that's what people respond to these days.
Yeah.
And maybe in that sense, the royal family say, okay, we'll take that risk and we'll support a British artist at the same time and take that risk. Right. So you, of all people, should be able to relate to this idea of the artist,
I
pushing
agree,
the boundaries.
the artist pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
But the fact that he didn't do it on his own, the fact that it was commissioned, right?
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, when we also get commission for people who want to make edgy content, a lot of times you're like, you can't be as edgy as you want to be. Which, curbs on our creative soul, but it is a reality.
Yeah, it's the reality.
So in this case, I just wonder, for him being commissioned to do that, how the monarch actually feels about it. And I don't know, it just feels a bit odd that, okay, they're thinking, we need to be more edgy, they're all just in a room, we need to be more edgy, we need to relate to the youth, and then maybe this one, the brief. So this was nothing to do with the monarch, it was Tatler themselves, right?
Yeah.
This one, I can see maybe they want to make a statement that, in some sense, she's, if you want to paint a princess as wow, this magnificent beauty is also putting them up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
In this case, like what you say, it could be anyone. It's just plain, her figure is not like some Barbie kind of proportions.
Yeah. In fact, you look at the actual pictures of what she was wearing.
Yeah, it's more
curvy and everything.
Curvy,
It's showing more of her silhouette. This one actually hides it more. And maybe the whole point was to, how in the monarch, they're all seen as greater than men. Yeah.
This one is no, she's just a regular one of us.
Yeah.
But this is the problem with art.
Yeah.
If someone looks at my primary 3 essay, right, that I submitted for English, and you just assign it to someone else, I'm sure people can find, wow, this guy said this because of this ass shit, and he used broken English, to subvert the norms of society and crap like that.
But that's what's the beauty of art, right? The fact that we're here talking about it all the way thousands of miles away in Singapore, talking about this portrait that otherwise you wouldn't give a rat's ass about it also, right?
Yeah, then we're going into tercontemporary art where people can strap a banana to a wall and have it sell for a fuck ton of money.
But and that reflects the time that we live in also, right? The times that we're in also.
Terrence, I feel you got this superiority complex that you understand art more than me.
No. I don't think I understand it more. It's just that I'm open. I'm open to different.
Also, you're more open.
I'm more open. Yeah, I'm more open.
More open, my ass.
I wear seatbelt, but I'm more open.
As you belted in, you just think about art.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, look at this.
Because you're safe already, right? You're safe already, then you have
more time to
think
about. Whereas in my seat, I'm always on edge.
Gripping the edges of your seat.
Maybe. So on planes, what you look at, you don't watch Mission Impossible or anything. You watch
I do
documentaries.
I watch all this. But I observe what is the intention of the artist. But actually, I honestly, I didn't think it was that bad, this particular portrait. It's not great, but not to my taste, I would say. But, if you look at the artist, her Instagram also, then you start to see there's a certain style to her paintings and all that. And in some ways, this one is a departure from what she normally paints. I think she paints a lot of...
almost photorealistic, right?
Yeah. And also people of different ethnicities and everything, right? So this one is it's a departure from what she normally paints, and if she takes a creative risk with it in some ways to make a statement, I don't think we can say it's a bad thing. And now she's got more publicity for it than she could ever dream of, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. Interesting. I think it's there's probably more to it. Photos her paintings are not photorealistic.
Yeah.
But yeah. Maybe they were trying something different. I don't know. If anything, it's gotten people talking.
Yeah,
exactly. We know that Tatler is doing a feature on the Princess of Wales.
Yeah. There's no. I think for this kind of things, for art and all, there's no correct answer. There's no this is the only way to do it and all that, right? And this is just one of many interpretations of it. So I think Tatler, if anything, is the big winner here, right?
Yeah, but then she says this is the soul of the Princess of Wales.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it could be a subtle dig that it's soulless, It's nothing but it's just the dress that keeps props everything up,
I mean, the dress, aside from the sash, it looks quite matrimonial also,
matrimonial.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a wedding dress, right?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. There's a
Right,
sash
without the sash. Unless
Yeah.
this is someone who went to a hen's night
Hence, like, oh, yeah.
With
And
the
a different
sash.
kind of sash. Yeah.
with a different kind of sash.
Yeah, I mean, in the little subtle things, like you said, about the very strong blue background, is meant to accentuate Kate Middleton's green eyes. These are little details that, probably only on closer inspection that you will notice.
And to non-colorblind people.
Non-colorblind people.
Because I couldn't tell what color eyes were.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, she has eyes.
Yeah.
That's all I see.
Exactly.
She has eyes.
So, things, I think we got to step back from our layman positions
Shut. Okay,
and just try to appreciate art.
You're on your high horse.
No,
okay?
I'm not.
I know that
I'm
voice. I know that voice where you slow down and you just enjoy this feeling of like being like, culturally superior.
Why so defensive?
No,
It's okay.
I've heard that voice many times.
Yeah, it's just, but maybe that's the point. The voice is to make you also interpret things differently.
Don't
help you
assign
interpret
some
things
benefit
differently.
to your voice being that way, okay? So that's if someone else said, Terence, I think your voice is doing a lot to help Harish open his mind. That one understandable. No one said that except you.
Yeah.
So I don't accept that kind of self-praise. Self-praise. You see your fucking face.
If you're on YouTube, you just see, I'm just like, I'm just nodding and smiling at Harish and saying yes to whatever he's saying.
You see this face?
He's like getting very defensive. Like you see,
no, I'm not looking at you.
Now he's like he's looking for all these strange details in my face that are just like, oh, okay, like that's how my face looks now. Oh,
Nonsense. Your face, you don't go to bed sleep smiling like that. Okay?
I do. And I'm very happy to go to bed every night. I sleep like this every night. But yeah,
brilliant. But yeah, see.
So I ask you, if you had a chance for one of these two artists, the one that the Jonathan Yeo one or this, to paint some
portrait,
which one would you choose? Jonathan Yeo. Even if he puts like uses dick pics to make your face, you're okay with that.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
You?
I think that's pretty cool actually. Like,
I thought you would go with the second one.
No. But I like the fact that he says something very strong about the thing. Whereas the Kate Middleton one is almost too subtle already.
Yeah.
I'd rather the artist say something than don't say anything. That'd be so subtle.
Jonathan Yeo.
Yeah. He's not like Asian or what.
That's what I was surprised.
I was like, oh, nice, Asian like British guy. But no, he's not.
But then why is his last name Yeo?
I don't know, maybe married Yeo, I don't know, or something.
Or doctor or something.
I mean, he could be married, what? He could be married or you and took the name, what?
But normally it's the other way around, what?
No, as in married, like he could marry another man.
Oh.
You see, again, Harish, your close-mindedness has reared its ugly head once.
Sorry, I only understand marriage one way.
Yeah.
Sorry. I conditioned by my country already.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just going to break out the face again.
Nonsense, yeah. I can tell the face coming already. Nonsense. But yeah, Jonathan Yeo, man.
Yeah.
But
cool.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
What is your one-shot comment then?
My one-shot comment, do you have yours in front of you?
Yeah, actually, it's a comment from our last podcast on YouTube where Marty says, "Hello, Yellowbud Universe. In another life, I feel Harish will make a great teacher considering his gift of talking. Whereas Terence may be a programmer or coder as he seems very meticulous in the way he articulates his thoughts. Great episode, by the way."
What do you make of that? Wait, the first one was what? In another life, Harish should be a what?
Harish will be a great teacher considering his gift of talking. Yeah. And then whereas Terence is maybe a programmer or coder as he seems very meticulous in the way he articulates his thoughts. So if you are a fan of misinformation, then Harish will be a great teacher.
Hey, what does a teacher do? It equips the future generations with knowledge to bring society forward. What more noble cause is that?
Correct. But must make sure you teach the right things. Teach the right things. That's the thing.
Same way, make sure you code the right things.
Meticulous in the way it articulates.
Yeah, if you wanted to create some malware that could screw over every computer in the world, you have to be meticulous.
Yeah. But that's a funny thing. You're the engineer. I'm not the engineer.
Yeah, you're not the engineer.
Yeah.
You're the finance guy.
Yeah, I'm not a finance guy. But I think it's just I mean, true lah. I think you're much more of a talker lah, right? The teacher, talker kind.
I don't like your emphasis on the word talk.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like something like, you talk a lot.
People give compliment also cannot accept. Yeah, just
It's your
classic,
face, lah, Terrence.
classic Sinky, classic Sinky. Don't do scold. Do already also complain.
I'm not scolding him.
Yeah.
I appreciate the comment.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah,
pointing out. People
okay.
can say you can teach.
I can teach.
Yeah. That's good.
But yeah, my one shot comment is kind of like I guess there were a bunch of comments on the podcast with Leong Man Wai across YouTube and Reddit that were actually very positive, like more so than I thought. Which is good. Well, I mean, I found it interesting. There's no one comment that stands out.
Yeah.
But there were some people who vehemently disagreed with the points that Leong Man Wai brought up. But a lot of also people saying that, this is the first time they kind of understand his points. They appreciate him coming on. They appreciate us bringing him on. So the reaction to that was more positive than I expected.
Yeah.
Reaction to the episode was more positive than I expected. Which is
on a particular platform?
On YouTube, there's a lot of positivity. A lot of positivity.
Yeah.
So I think to me that was like, okay, I think there are people who are supporters, who will support regardless. But I personally felt that some of his answers maybe were not the most comprehensive or convincing. So that's why when people were like, wow, like just saying this was great and all. I mean, I'm glad they enjoyed it. I'm glad they found use, a value. But I was like, oh, there's some really strong support.
Yeah, but I think it's because you rarely see your leaders or public figures speak freehand for an hour or something.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, in Parliament or even in interviews and things like that, it's a very the format demands that it's there's a prepared speech or prepared jingle or something that you have to say, right? Whereas like much more in our podcast, I think we always pride ourselves in like making free flowing conversation as possible, and that's the thing that I think a lot of older people maybe don't understand what we do here. That we really put these personalities not through the ringer or anything, but just put them in a position where you rarely see them like this, just talking freehand about like various issues, right? And it kind of really gives you insight of what this person is like if you really sat down with them for an hour, try to like really digest and understand what they're about. And that's what I think is unique.
They appreciate that. Yeah. So I mean, I'm glad that podcast, I mean, just getting quite a lot of views and listens, so that's good.
Yeah.
And what about your one shock thing, man?
Oh, my one shock thing is something that's been lighting the internet on fire. It's Joe Rogan recently had the actor Terrence Howard on his podcast. Do you know Terrence Howard?
No.
Do you remember Hustle and Flow? Hard out there for a pimp, that show?
No.
Do you know this small indie film that was made like in the mid-2010s called Iron Man?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and then War Machine.
Oh.
The guy who acted as original War Machine Iron Man. And then subsequently got replaced by Don Cheadle from the sequel onwards, right? So Terrence Howard is that very famous actor, Empire and everything. And he was on Joe Rogan's podcast recently for 3 hours. And it's the most, people have described it as the most unhinged guest ever on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I would encourage anyone to listen to it, and then after that go and read the comments, because the comments are hilarious. Like, he makes very, very out there claims about solving things that Pythagoras couldn't solve, that talking about how he's going to kill gravity with his new theories and all the patents he has technology that governments don't have and all. So it is unhinged. It's like people have described it as the Kanye West of science. Neil smoked too much grass Tyson. and that's why they say like, that's why they got him an Iron Man, because he was actually going to build the arc reactor and things like that.
So you listened to the whole thing, or you just skimmed through?
I listened to a good part of it, but you have to watch it also, because at first, like, a lot of people are speculating, is he like doing a method acting thing? Like, you remember how Joaquin Phoenix was a rapper at one point for like a year or two?
Oh, I didn't know.
He was doing it for a show, a mockumentary. So he went on Letterman and pretended to be someone like a rapper and wanting to reinvent himself. But apparently this Terrence Howard has been doing this for years already. So it's not like a recent thing. Like, since like I think in 2019 when he was on red carpet, he also said some strange things. apparently he went to Uganda and then made some strange speech also about solving certain scientific problems that Pythagoras couldn't solve and all that. So it's really unhinged, and even just the intro already, people are really like, wow, this guy is...
But how is Joe Rogan reacting to him?
Joe Rogan is...
kind of egging him on, is it?
Yeah, but it was almost like a monologue at certain points. And Joe Rogan, like, I don't know how much... I mean, nobody can understand what the hell he's talking about, I would think. But, Joe Rogan, he's not exactly there to, like, really poke someone, but to just ask more. But this one is like, it's so unhinged, but it's like a physics word salad, lor. Like, you open a physics textbook, every word that is complicated in there comes out in the way he talks.
Oh,
and it's really unhinged, and you watch it, it's funny lah. But at the same time, people are saying, like Kanye West, like that, probably a sign of some mental illness lah that is not treated lah. But yeah, I mean, you can still watch it. I mean, you can still watch it because he's not doing badly in life or anything. He's rich and whatever, and he's on Joe Rogan, whatever. But it's just really unhinged. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, just watch the snippets on YouTube. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, there'll be a lot of snippets.
Yeah.
Cool. My one shock thing is actually the reactions to Jurgen Klopp's retirement from Liverpool. Like, I'm honestly not happy he retired. I'm not a Liverpool fan. I'm somewhat of a Man U fan. Wouldn't really call myself a Man U fan now. But the way, because there's been a lot of videos about, people just sharing their thoughts about him, and how even Liverpool players, they're placing him amongst the greats of Liverpool. And it just blows my mind how universally respected he is. From Pep Guardiola to Roy Keane to, like, there's a video of him reading letters from fans. There's a video of him reacting to videos of ex-players or just Liverpool legends paying tribute to him. And all the time, he's always just so humble. He says it's always about the people. My role is to be the biggest supporter of the club. And you just look at this guy, we're like, wow, this guy is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, even rival fans, you can't help but respect him.
Yeah.
And I think it's sad that he's going. Doesn't seem like he's moving to any other club. Hope his health is okay. But it's just been very heartwarming to see that, wow, even Pep Guardiola got a bit emotional during a press conference talking about Jurgen Klopp and how he has been such a big part of his life. Yeah, it's like nice to see. And he's just a very charming guy.
Yeah.
Very charming guy.
I think you'll miss his enthusiasm he brings to the pitch every time.
Amazing,
yeah.
But yeah. Cool, man.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So remember, if you enjoyed the podcast, please do tell at least one other person about it. Subscribe, follow us, join our Reddit, and what else?
Telegram also. Yeah, you can join
Telegram. Yeah, newly launched Telegram.
And yeah, if you want to work with us, check out ministryoffunny.com. There's a contact us page there. Yeah.
Hell yes. All right. Thanks, everybody.